I'm Amanda from Juni, and this is Growing Up Ready, the podcast designed to help parents and kids prepare for the real world by offering practical advice on everything from academics to entrepreneurship. Each episode features interviews with successful parents, experts, educators, and young achievers who share their stories and insights on how to navigate life's challenges. Today, we are joined by DJ, a very remarkable young man and author, who will talk a little bit about his experience. And DJ, I'd love to hand it off to you for a little self-introduction.
Hello, my name is DJ Strickland. I am 14 years old, and I'm the author of two comic books, Tech Boy and Science Girl. I am also a really big STEM advocate, and I also really love giving back to the community.
Great. Thank you so much for that introduction. Those are probably the most important things to share about yourself, and I'm glad that our listeners get to learn that about you. Could you give us a little bit more insight on your background? What grade are you in? What area of the country are you in? What can we get to know about you?
Uh, I am in eighth grade. I'm going to be going into high school, and I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and I go to St. Rose Philippine Catholic private school.
Amazing. Well, that sounds awesome. How do you spend your time outside of school?
When I'm outside of school, I'm working on my comic book business or I'm playing chess because I picked up chess as a hobby. I also really
Oh,
love
that's
coding
amazing.
too.
What got you into comic books?
I was inspired by Chadwick Boseman and his role in Black Panther, and after seeing it, it made me realize that there was a lack of positive Black representation in movies, TV shows, and books. So to increase representation, I decided to create my own comic books. And that got me into comic books. I also really love coding and technology and STEM, so I want to implement that into the comic books as well.
Oh, amazing. What do you love about coding?
I just really love how it's. I like the part of coding that's like more of the creating games versus kind of the design them. I really love it overall. I just like being able to like see all of these video games that other people created, and I can start making stuff similar to that like myself. And I think that's
Yeah.
really awesome.
Yeah, it's very empowering, isn't it, to realize that you have what it takes to make something interesting and something that you love. How long have you been coding?
I've been coding for about well, consistently coding was started from my 2020 in the pandemic, but I did take but my first ever coding class was Color Coded Kids. It was a Color Coded Kids program, which in that program I created my first ever video game. It was like a brick breaker game where the ball like breaks the bricks at the top of the screen, and that was my first ever like introduction to coding, and I really loved it. That also really inspired me to get into coding as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, at Juni, we primarily teach coding to kids your age, but also younger and older than you. It ranges from 7 all the way up to the end of high school. And kids are doing a lot of what you're describing, coding their own games, solving puzzles, using coding. So it's so exciting to see that you share that passion with our audience.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you're passionate about STEM. It's obviously the subject of your books. And it's clear from as you're describing, you have this passion for coding, obviously writing. What do you think draws you to STEM subjects specifically?
Oh, I really just really got this passion. I mentioned from the co-creations program, and also seeing this also seeing just how you can go and create your own like things with revolving around STEM. I think it's just really fascinating. But I also want to increase representation in STEM related career fields because
Mhm.
I did like research and I've seen with things like AI, which is now like coming up to popularity. Um, there's I've seen with AI is like more it, like this kind of discriminates to people of color. Like if you're using a filter, it doesn't really work as well with people of darker tones. And I feel like that wouldn't be a problem if we had more representation in those STEM related career fields, which is something that
Mhm.
I found important with STEM too. So that's why it also makes me a really big STEM advocate because I really want to increase my representation.
Yeah, it sounds like representation is something you're really passionate about in everything that you do. That's awesome. Great. Could you share a little bit more about the books Tech Boy and Science Girl? Maybe take us back to the beginning, in terms of how you even got started with the process of writing your own comic book.
Yeah, Tech Boy is about a young high schooler who has the power of technology, use the power of science, technology, engineering, and math to defeat the villain in the story. And Science Girl is based on my little sister Serena, who is 6 years old, and it's about her journey to learning and understanding her powers to eventually becoming cybercity's first female superhero. With the writing process, I first wrote my ideas down in a notebook, and I shared that idea with my best friend Joshua, who has his own business too, and I shared it with my mom. And after my mom saw how passionate I was with my comic book, she wanted she wanted to help me out with creating my business. So we eventually I wrote it down in a Google Doc, and we used Fiverr for the illustrations. I found an illustrator on Fiverr who his art style was similar to how I envisioned Tech Boy in my head. So we ended up hiring him to do the illustration process. I also have a business coach and that helps me out with my business too.
Oh, amazing. How does it feel to own and run your own business and balance that with school and just being an eighth grader in general?
Yeah, it feels good to have a business, but like you said, it is hard to balance um the with time management, organization skills, trying to balance my comic business with my hobbies like chess and having my own free time to watch TV, play video games or anything. It's really just that time management organization skills I've been working on for the past 2 years that helps me out a lot of my business. And if I ever need advice, I also am able to talk to my mom and my mentors that I have that also help me out when I really need anything.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, you may be one of the youngest business owners I've had the chance to speak to for this series, which sounds like a lot of fun, but also could be stressful at times. But it seems that you're fueled by your passion for what you've made. Um, awesome. And are there any other authors that you look up to that you kind of modeled your own books after or inspired you to even take this leap in the first place?
With my comic business, I'm definitely inspired by Stan Lee and his comics that he's created, Marvel comics, and also DC comics as well. I take inspiration from other comic books that I've read. Like actually, recently we're reading Miles Morales comic books, which is a version of Spider Man. And yeah, I just read books to go and gain inspiration for my my comic books that I'm creating.
Yeah. It's common that especially young people might start a project like that, have a goal, dream of doing something as big as writing their own book and selling it. But it's quite another thing to actually take that to completion and be managing the promotion of those books after the fact. You really saw the whole process through. And what do you think was the difference between someone who does and doesn't see a project like that through?
It's really knowing where to start. A
Mm.
big issue with anyone, like it even doesn't even have to be a business. When they want to go and start something, is really knowing where to start. And my advice I would have for someone who is trying to like start their own project or business, I used to believe that you had to be an adult to, follow your own dreams and passions and goals and to be an entrepreneur. And but I realized that you can be a kid too, as long as you do the research and have the support of a parent or guardian. You can be a business owner too, or start your own project and follow your dreams. Just do the research and have the support of someone for the things that you can't really do as an adult, and you can really do anything.
Yeah, so you feel like other young people need to receive that message that they're capable and that they don't need to wait for adulthood to pursue every goal that they have.
Yes.
Great, awesome. Were there any challenges that you faced during the writing of your book or the publishing of your book?
Yes, it was definitely with school. When I was first working on my comic book, I was being bullied a lot in school, and
Mm.
it led me to this depression that I had, and it was rough. They were telling me that my comic book wouldn't make it, my business wouldn't make it, and it was really hard. I'm very fortunate that my mom saw the signs, and she talked with me and put me into therapy. And with the help of therapy and my mom, it was able to give me and the inspiration to continue working and persevering to finish my comic book. But yeah, there
Aw.
was definitely those were yeah, there was a really hard challenge that I had to overcome a roadblock.
Yeah. And it sounds like your own mental fortitude and belief in yourself helped you overcome those negative messages you were receiving from your peers who made you believe that your goals were not achievable.
Yes,
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. Do you think that that's a common challenge that other young people face? And
yes,
have you
definitely.
noticed that?
Yes,
Yeah. Go
definitely.
on.
I talked with others if they asked if they were comfortable with talking about it too, because it's definitely a sensitive topic. But I did talk with others that if they experience any challenges like that, and it seems like it is definitely like a common like challenge that others have to face. Um, but definitely, yeah. As anyone is going through a challenge like that, I definitely say definitely talk to someone about it because it would help a lot than keeping it in, because eventually it
Yeah.
might, come out in another time. So I say definitely talk to somebody, and therapy is also really helps a lot. Actually, a portion of my comic book actually goes to therapy for Black kids, which
Hmm.
they help to break the stigma of Black kids going to therapy, because it's a stigma of if you're Black and you're like male or female, or if you're Black that um there's a stigma that if you're Black that you can't go to therapy because it shows a sign of weakness, and they help to go and break that stigma of Black kids or Black kids going to therapy.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of big goals around impacting culture and changing the way that society views Black people and what Black people are capable of, what they can, should do. That sounds like a really passionate part of your goals. How did achieving this goal, which it sounds like was fueled by trying to have better Black representation in media, how did that help you identify future, even bigger goals for yourself?
Yeah, it definitely gave me inspiration for continuing on with my business, and just continue working on my business and for the future. It definitely gave me some inspiration, and I also really love giving back to my community. Um, Actually, recently I started this initiative of for offsetting negative lunch balances at schools. I first started with McCurdy Elementary, which is the old school that I went to, and with the help of everybody, we started a GoFundMe to raise over $400 to offset negative lunch balances, and also get a pool that the school can go and pull money from. And with accomplishments like these, it definitely is giving me more inspiration and drive to go and continue working on my passions and working towards my passions that I have. I really want to be a computer programmer and video game developer, and to also go to MIT. And
Mm.
definitely with all the support that people have been giving me, it's definitely fueled me to continue working towards that, and also helping others too.
That's amazing. Well, it sounds like you have a lot on your horizon and you have some really valuable experiences in your past that are going to fuel you forward. So, if you could kind of leave our listeners with one piece of advice, especially our listeners who are other young people around your age, what do you think they would need to hear to feel motivated to pursue the aggressive goals that they may have or that you have?
Yeah, definitely. If you want to go and um, I definitely want to just leave off with follow your dreams. Really, definitely. If you want to go and pursue a passion or goal of yours, definitely do your research, and if you have the support of a parent or guardian, yeah, you can definitely achieve your goals.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time, DJ. And I've really appreciated chatting with you. I'm going to go read your comic books right now because I'm sure they're phenomenal. And I'm a comic book fan myself. And we really just appreciate the opportunity to have young people on this podcast so that our young listeners can hear that this is something they could be pursuing now. It's very different than when we talk to adults, and that can feel like a long time away for them. But you're a great example that if you have goals, they can be achieved as soon as you want them to be, if you have the support and motivation you need. So thank you so much for your time, and I will chat with you later.
Bye.